Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Welcome to All Souls, where we come together to love beyond belief. I am so glad you are here with us today, because this is indeed a day to celebrate. Let us then rejoice in it and be glad. Let us count our many blessings. Let us be grateful for the capacity to feel and understand. Let us be grateful for the incredible gift of life. And let us be especially grateful for the ties of love that bind us together, giving dignity, meaning, worth, and joy to all of our days. Please join with me wherever you are in affirming our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land, by every tongue. Amen. Today, we begin a summer of Dr. Seuss family chapels. Now, Theodore Geisel, also known as Dr. Seuss, never joined officially a Unitarian Universalist church. But it seems like from his attitudes that he was certainly in sympathy with a lot of our beliefs, certainly with our peace practices. Do you all remember our peace practices? Be kind in word and deed. Right? That's number one. Number two, respect yourself and all others and the environment. And number three, everyone gets to play. Our story today, The Better Battle Book, will remind you of some of those peace practices. So think about those while we're reading our story. The Better Battle Book by Dr. Seuss. On the last day of summer, 10 hours before fall, my grandfather took me out to the wall. For a while he stood silent. Then finally he said, with a very sad shake of his very old head, "As you know, on this side of the wall are the Ukes, and on the far side of the wall live the Zooks." Then my grandfather said, "It's high time that you knew of the terribly horrible thing that Zooks do. In every Zook house and in every Zook town, every Zook eats his bread with the butter side down. But we Ukes, as you know, when we breakfast or sup, spread our bread," Grandpa said, "with the butter side up." "That's the right honest way," Grandpa gritted his teeth, "so you can't trust a Zook who spreads bread underneath. Every Zook must be watched. He has kinks in his soul. That's why as a youth I made watching my goal, watching Zooks for the Zook watching border patrol. For a while that worked fine. In those days, of course, the wall wasn't so high, and I could look any Zook square in the eye. If he dared to come close, I could give him a twitch with my tough-tufted, prickly stickberry switch. For a while, that worked fine. All the Zooks stayed away, and our country was safe. Then one terrible day, a very rude Zook by the name of Van Itch snuck up and slingshotted my snickberry switch. With my broken-off switch, with my head hung in shame, to the chief Euchrew in great sorrow I came. But our leader just smiled. He said, "You're not to blame. And those Zooks will be sorry they started this game. We'll dress you up right in a fancier suit. We'll give you a fancier slingshot to shoot." And he ordered the boys in the back room to figure how to build me some sort of triple sling jigger. With my triple sling jigger, I sure felt much bigger. I marched to the wall with the great vim and great vigor, right up to Van Itch with my hand on the trigger. "I'll have no more nonsense," I said with a frown, "from Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." Van Itch looked quite sickly. He ran off quite quickly. I'm unhappy to say he came back the next day in a spiffy new suit with a big new machine, and he snarled and he said, looking frightfully mean, "You may fling those hard rocks with your triple sling jigger, but I also now have my hand on a trigger, my wonderful weapon, the jigger rock snatch'em. We'll fling 'em right back just as quick as we catch 'em. We'll have no more nonsense, we'll take no more gump from you Ukes who eat bread with the butter side up." "I have failed, sir," I sobbed as I made my report to the chief Euchrew in the headquarters fort. He just laughed. "You've done nothing at all of the sort. Our slingshots have failed. That was old-fashioned stuff. Slingshots, dear boy, are not modern enough. All we need is some newfangled kind of gun. My boys in the back room have already begun to think up a walloping whiz-zinger one. My bright boys are thinking they're on the right track. They'll think one up quick and we'll send you right back." They thought up a great one. They certainly did. They thought up a gun called a Kickapoo Kid, which they loaded with powerful poo-a-doo powder, and ant eggs, and bees' legs, and dried fried clam chowder. And they carefully trained a real smart dog named Daniel to serve as our country's first gun-toting spaniel. Then Daniel, the Kickapoo Spaniel, and I marched back toward the wall with our heads held up high. Well, everyone cheered, and their cheers filled the sky. "Fight! Fight for the butter side up! Do or die!" Well, we didn't do, and we didn't quite die, but we sure did get worsted, poor Daniel and I. Van Itch was there too, and he said, the old pig, "The boys in my back room invented this rig, called the 8-nozzled elephant-toted Boom Blitz. It shoots high explosive sour cherry stone pits and will put your dumb Kickapoo Kid on the fritz." Poor Daniel and I were scared out of our wits. Once more, by Van Itch, I was bested and beat. Once again, I limped home from the wall in defeat. I dragged and I sagged, and my spirits were low as I thought they ever could go, when I heard a boom-ba and a diddly-dill, and our butter-up band marched up over the hill. The chief Eucharoos had sent them to meet me with a right-side-up song girls to greet me. They sang, "Oh, be faithful, believe in thy butter," and they lifted my spirits right out of the gutter. "My boy," smiled the chief Eucharoo, "we've just voted and made you a general. You've been promoted. Your pretty new uniform's ready. Get in it. The big war's a-comin'. You're gonna be in it. And what's more, this time you're certain to win it. My boys in the back room have finally found how. Just wait till you see what they've puttered up now. In their great new machine, you'll fly over that wall and clobber those butter-down zooks one and all." Those boys in the back room knew how to putter. They made me a thing called the utterly sputter. And I jumped aboard with my heart all aflutter and steered toward the land of the upside-down butter. This machine was so modern, so frightfully new, no one knew quite exactly just what it would do. But it had several faucets that sprinkled blue goo, which somehow would sprinkle the zooks as I flew and gum up that upside-down butter they chew. I was racing pell-mell when I heard a voice yell, "If you sprinkle us zooks, you'll get sprinkled as well." Van Itch had a sputter exactly like mine, and he yelled, "My blue gooer is working just fine. And I'm here to say that if zooks can goo zooks, you'd better forget it, 'cause zooks can goo ukes." I flew right back home, and as you may have guessed, I was downright despondent, disturbed, and depressed. And I saw just as soon as I stepped back on land, so were all of the girls of the Butter-Up Band. The chief drum majorette, Miss Yuki Ann Sue, said, "That was a pretty sour flight that you flew, and the chief Eucharoo has been looking for you." I raced to his office. That place was a sight. "Have no fears," said the chief. "Everything is all right. My bright backroom boys have been brighter than bright. They've thought up a gadget that's newer than new. It is filled with mysterious moo-lackamoo and can blow all those zooks clear to Salamazoo. They've invented the Bitsy Big Boy Boomeroo. You just run to the wall like a nice little man. Drop this bomb on the zooks just as fast as you can. I have ordered all ukes to stay safe underground while the Bitsy Big Boy Boomeroo is around." As I raced for that wall with the bomb in my hand, I noticed that every last uke in our land was obeying our chief Eucharoo's grim command. They were all bravely marching with banners aflutter down a hole for their country and right side up butter. That's when Grandfather found me. He grabbed me. He said, "You should be down that hole, and you're up here instead. But perhaps this is all for the better somehow. You will see me make history right here and right now." Grandpa leaped up that wall with a lopulous leap, and he cleared his hoarse throat with a bopulous beep. He screamed, "Here's the end of that terrible town, full of zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." And at that very instant we heard a clup-clup of feet on the wall, and old Van Itch clupped up. The boys in his back room had made him one too. In his fist was another big boy boomeroo. "I'll blow you," he yelled, "into pork and wee beans. I'll butter side up you to small smithereens." "Grandpa," I shouted, "be careful. Oh, gee, who's gonna drop it? Will you? Or will he? Be patient, said Grandpa. We'll see. We will see. Now remember those peace practices I asked you about? What would have happened if those Dr. Seuss characters in the Better Battle book had followed our peace practices? What if they had been kind in word and deed? What if they had showed respect to themselves and to each other and to their environment? What if they had practiced number 3? Everyone gets to play. What if? There's a famous saying attributed to Mahatma Gandhi, famous man. He says, your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. With that in mind, I would ask you, all summer long actually, for our prayer, for you to repeat after me our peace practices as an affirmation, I will statements. So, repeat after me, either in your heart or out loud, however you're comfortable. But say this in your heart of hearts. I will be kind in word and deed. I will respect myself, all others, and the environment. I will make sure everyone gets to play. Amen.
Make us all where we are a sanctuary, each made holy, loved right through, with thanksgiving. We are a living sanctuary anew. Go and be blessed, and be a blessing. Go now in peace, go now in peace.